So, if you've been affected by toxic and narcissistic relationships, the typical thing that happens is you fall into the trap of researching, researching, and it becomes like this endless addiction. It's like the inner part of you is just so greedy for this information because it's just so validating, but that's never going to go away. You're never going to be able to research it enough. And I want you to think of it like this: the more you're focusing on the narcissist, right, the longer it's going to take you to heal. Researching is a vital step, and it's important to actually get the words. You need the language to express what's happened to you because that normalizes your experience because you've probably felt crazy, like some freak, like insane because of all the crazy making that happens in those relationships. So obviously it's normal to research, but when you fall down that rabbit hole and it's like it never ends, that's what you want to watch out for. Because the more you're focusing on them, the more you're keeping the addiction alive, especially when you're trauma bonded. And when you're researching narcissism and you're finally getting validation and it feels amazing, right? But when you're doing that, who's taking care of you? How are you going to be able to resist the narcissist when they pop back up again? Because you know they will. The second, I swear, the second you stop thinking about them, and I was trauma bonded, so I get this. I so get this. The second you stop thinking about them, guess who calls? Guess who ends up being at your door? I wish I was lying. You can wean yourself off. So if you like do it for 5 hours, then every day, so, you could subtract every couple of days, subtract 30 minutes until it gets lower and lower to where you're focusing more on you. If you struggle with codependency, if you feel this need to give, fix, please, or help at the expense of yourself, like you're literally abandoning and neglecting yourself to help, please, and bend yourself into pretzel to make other people happy and meet their needs, then we have a problem with focusing compulsively. And I help my clients with this, learning how to start focusing on themselves when they've spent their whole life trying to focus on other people. And as a codependent, as a giver, as someone who's kind, as someone who's sensitive, you are the prime target for a narcissist because they want to exploit all that juicy love and compassion and kindness. They want it all for themselves. They're so greedy. Until you learn to make that switch to focus on yourself, your healing is blocked because you're just going to, instead of focusing on, when you finally stop focusing on the narcissist, you're just going to focus on your child, you're going to focus on your friend, you're going to focus on whatever, and you're not going to be able to really move forward and truly taking care of yourself. If this is you, if you want to learn how to take care of yourself, then check out the video I just did about how to truly be there for yourself, because I talk about how to self-soothe. How do you feel your feelings? So the more you focus on the narcissist, the more you think about them, the more you feel about them, the more you're focused on them, kind of obsessed with narcissism and learning. And you're not healing from that like obsessiveness that you have of constantly focusing on other people so you can fill yourself up. Think about it like you have an inner world and your outer world. What do you focus more on? The outer world to try to make yourself feel loved, safe, secure, and happy? Or you focus on the inner world, and I know it can feel horrible. That inner world can feel so empty and so full of pain. But if you don't do it, no one's going to. No one's going to save you. Like, no one's going to give you the life you want. You're going to have to work hard for it. We don't need to think of it, oh my God, it's so hard. No, it's loving. It's loving to learn how to take care of ourselves. It's loving how to learn to feel our feelings, to be there for ourselves. It's loving to learn how to fill up and make our inner world full of joy, because that's going to come out of us, and we can create better experiences, a better life, a better everything. But if we're trying to take things outside of us, people, places, situations, whatever, right? Bending ourselves into pretzel, being super pleasing, always get the approval from outside of ourselves. It's just a never ending cycle. It's never going to end, and you're going to be target for manipulative, sociopathic, and narcissistic people, and your life is going to be a living hell. So the more you think about them, the more you're keeping the addiction alive. And I teach my clients, how do you start to focus on yourself with specific tools and exercises? Because that's where healing is. How do you focus on yourself? How do you self-soothe, take care of yourself, regulate your feelings, process your feelings? And it feels like a lot of work. But here's the thing. If you do it baby steps at a time, it's not. Every day, you can take a few baby steps and imagine over 3 months, 6 months, where you'll be. But if you spend the 3 to 6 months obsessing about the narcissist, and let's say you finally feel like you got over them, you finally got enough information, you finally feel closure, right? Boom, they're going to pop back up again. Will you be able to resist them? Would you, if all you did was researched, would you be able to resist them? Resist them again? Talk. If they popped into your life suddenly, if all you did was research, I don't know. But let's say you did research for a few months, but every day you did less and less. And then the extra time you had, you started focusing on yourself. Maybe you looked into healing, you got a coach, you learned to start dealing with codependency or just overgiving and overfunctioning. And you started to really focus on, how do I heal this emptiness, this neediness, this insecurity inside of me, and stop trying to get other people to fill up those voids and those holes. And how do I work on loving myself, right? In 6 months, that person's going to be so much stronger than the person who all they did was research. And this is an important point. Your brain is not there to make you happy. Your brain is to keep you safe. I'm going to say that again. Your brain is to keep you safe. It does not care if you're happy. It does not care if you're happy. It wants you safe. And guess what? If you even close to your comfort zone, and your comfort zone, especially if you come from a narcissistic family, it's going to be tiny. Like, you've basically lived like Harry Potter. You lived in that tiny broom closet for your whole life. Your comfort zone is basically going to be like, you're going to be like this, you couldn't even fit in that broom closet. Like, you were so smushed. If you don't do the inner work, you're going to be stuck with that childhood programming the rest of your life. And when you're researching narcissism and you're finally getting validation and it feels amazing, right? But when you're doing that, who's taking care of you?